So let's start, let's all stand up. First time in person Zoom. Fernando, thank you for being here. Thanks for trying it. It's all about trying. Let's go, let's loosen up our arms. Kind of alternating my legs and my arms. Forward, slow motion. Many people would teach Bruce Lee a class and educate him on some stuff. That makes sense. I would not want to teach Bruce Lee anything. It does not excite me. Now, relaxing your arms, throwing your torso. Let the arms fly. Torso, side to side, arms flying. Good. Beautiful. And now hands on your hips, circles. Good. And then other direction. My body has never been so loose. All of these small 5-minute of mobility like this every day, twice a day, knees. Other direction, knees. Great. Good. Ankles. Stretch the foot a little bit of extension. Good. Switch to the other foot. Extension. Circles. Stretching it. Good. And then your hands, fingers, big and then closed. Big, close. Wrists, flexion, extension. Yeah, elbow flexion, extension. Shoulder, full range of motion, full circle, both directions. Feel it. Protect those shoulders, you guys. You only have 2. Yeah. Great. And now we're going to go to the ground. We squat down. We break the fall. And we're rocking. And maybe touch over your shoulder and go back. And touch and go back. Sometimes you need a little more speed to get over there and then go back. I push off my feet and I go back. And then from flat, try this, like just bring your legs up and roll over and go flat. And then from flat, maybe I put one hand down the side that I'm facing and then I kind of throw my legs back. And then roll over your other shoulder. That might have been the same shoulder. And then now roll over your other shoulder forward. There you go. That's tricky, but all you gotta do is keep doing it forever and you'll get it. Hands. Hips up, hips off the ground, and moving. And then switch. Switch again. Here. Switch. Switch. Yeah. There you go. And now from sitting down, we just go here and side. Yeah. Here. Beautiful. Okay, knees on the ground, knuckles down, hop up, standing up. Watch this, I step my lead leg forward and I land here in a squat. I'm sorry, in a hunter squat. One knee up, one knee down. And now I pivot my down knee and I go into this. See that? I'm in a squat and now I stand up. Now I switch. Step forward. Here, actually that wasn't a switch, but we're gonna do both sides a couple times. So I land here, and I pivot, and then I step up. Here, and I drop. And now my back leg pivots up, and I'm in my squat. And I'm up, and I step, boom, yeah. Back leg pivots, boom, and then I squat. Good, and now from kneeling, everybody's kneeling. Look how I'm gonna put both hands on the ground and then jump my right knee through. Any knee through. Yes, stand back up. My both hands go down, other knee through. So obviously one leg's out for base and one knee goes through. And back up again. Both hands, boom, knee through. Nice. Last one on the other side. Hands down, knee through. Great. And then get up. And now, look at, as my hands go to the ground, they touch the ground, I move around 90 degrees. And then I move back, and I come back up. So my hands go down, other side, 90 degrees. And then I go back, and I come back up. One more to each side. Hands go down, hop around, and I go back, and I come up. My hands go down, 90 degrees. I go back, and I come up. Good, now Eddie's laying down right here. And we talk about open guard. I drop in, and I hug here. And from this, I begin to lift his leg. He resists. So my knee goes down, hug the neck, back step, and then I push. So on your knees, go on your knees like this. Your right arm, hug actually even better. You can, with your knees in the ground. Both knees down. Look at my right arm hugs the neck, left foot back step. Go back to my knees. And now my other arm hugs the neck, opposite leg back step. And then I go back to my knees. See that? Hug the neck, back step. Come back to my knees. Last one, hug the neck, back step. And go back to my knees. So now, everybody's right leg is up. Right leg is up. My right hand's grabbing the person's collar here, and my left arm is hugging their thigh. I'm under the leg. And when I lift their leg, they resist it. When they resist it, it makes it easier for my knee to go over their thigh. Once my knee goes over, that same side arm hugs the neck, and then I back step. And then I go to my knees, but on the side this time. I don't reset. Again, right leg is up. Here. Right hand holds the collar, elbows tucked in, arms hugging the thigh. And now as I try to lift it, it's too heavy, my knee drives over. Perfect, right knee goes to the ground. Same side arm hugs the neck. Once the same side arm hugs the neck, you back step. Once you back step, go to your knees.
Beautiful, Sam.
Good, Wally, yep. Simple enough. Let's do the other side one time. Other leg is up, holding the collar on the same side of the up knee. Okay, other arm is hugging the leg. I go to pick up the leg, but it's too heavy. So then my knee goes over the one that drops. Once the knee goes over, same side arm hugs the neck. And now I do a back step. Once I do my back step, I go to my knees. You got it, guys. Okay.
Good to see you, Rob.
It's beautiful. Now, if you have this same position, I have the collar, but now I can't quite lift up this leg. My arm didn't quite get underneath it. My hand's on top of it. Okay, so now, and when they hip out that way, the leg lowers, so my knee now crosses at a different angle. Once my knee crosses, my hand goes under their body, under their arm, and my foot goes out for base. And now as my elbow drops, I slide through on my hip. So now I'm slicing across. Eddie, right here one time. So he's down, open guard, my knee is here. The reason why my elbow is on the outside, it's because if it's inside, it's a little more, cross your feet, it's a little more dangerous for me, go back. Whereas if it's here, around on the outside of my knee, go ahead, cross your feet, it's harder for him to move closer, okay? Around the outside. So now, again, maybe I'm here, he hips out that way. When he does that, my knee, because he wants to put his foot on my hip, okay? When he does that, I pin this down, my knee goes through. Hand under, leg up. And then as I grab the tricep, I sit on my hip, head down. And then this foot right here. Look at my foot. Look at my energy now. Watch the energy. Sit up. I can't. Now look, hips down, foot here. Rock up. See that? Much different. Even though it's hard both ways and I'm heavier than he is. The point is that he's much stronger if my hip's on the ground and my leg is not a little extra back with a little extra drive. So everybody's right knee is up again, hand holding the collar. They drop that leg, pin it a little bit, bring your knee across. And now same side knee that went across, that arm goes under their arm. Put your other foot out for base. As I grab the tricep, I drop to my elbow and melt my hip through. There you go, and melt my hip. One more time, right leg is up, we're sitting, elbow is around, good place to be. You can be here for a little bit, but once they hip out, right away, boom, knee across. Hand underhooks the arm as the leg comes up. My elbow drops, my hip slides through, my top hand grabs the tricep, scoop it off the ground. How about that back leg? Put it back a little more.
Nice adjustment.
Drive your head forward a little more. Pick your hips up half an inch. Just a little bit of hips up, half an inch is the same as 4 inches, 7 inches. Great. Check it out. Now, earlier today, we talked about this. Double underhooks, his guard opens. Once I get double underhooks, sometimes as I'm picking up this leg, he's resisting. When he resists, I can use my arm to kind of feed his leg inside here. And now I switch to an over-under pass. An over-under pass, over one arm, under this arm. And now I kind of hop around and kind of come back and catch his hips. So turn the angle right here. I think that was the angle, more on the back side. So I have the over-under, and as I'm lifting this, his foot, like trying to put your foot down to the ground, like, yeah, I pull it, and I step over his foot. So I use his energy against him. My arm goes over his arm, and I kind of grab my inner thigh right here, lightly. And now, go ahead, keep me in the guard, and hop around. Boom, once I get around, look at my knees. Rotate, rotate, rotate. I bring my knee tight, elbow over his body. Rotate, rotate, rotate. And then both my hands, this arm under his arm, and this arm under his arm. Close to the body, other hand out for base. So over under pass, shoulder pressure on the person's stomach, run to the side, and then run back a little bit, trap their hips. So we'll do it from kneeling. We'll all start kneeling. Person's guard opens, get double underhooks. From double underhooks, begin to lift the right side. Now, because they're making it heavy, you kind of hug their thigh, open your leg up, pull it down, and put your leg over their foot on the same side. Now pull that arm out and go over their leg. Great. Once it's over, you hold both thighs. Now, put your shoulder on the stomach and then run around to the side. And now once you run around, run back a little bit. Bring your left arm over the body and then put your other hand out for base underneath.
Beautiful carry.
When you pass the foot, do you pinch your feet together? Let's see. You guys, when you do this right now, let's all go left and right, kind of match my left and right. I'm gonna call it out, so that way it's easy to follow along on each step. So I'm lifting this up. If the leg is fully straight, how does that feel for you?
Don't feel good.
Bend it. If you bend it, now it's heavier. When he bends it, it's easy for me to step over it. If it's fully extended, it's harder to make it heavy and for me to trap it. Bend it again, freeze. Feed it down, trap over it, bring my arm over it. Once I'm here, this hand holds my thigh very lightly. Henry mentioned this morning, if there's no attention to the trap of this leg, he'll bring his foot out and cross his feet around my neck. And now we're in triangle setup. So once I feed it down and I go over, holding my own thigh kind of helps keep it under my control. As for pinching the foot, that was the question, right? I don't see the pinching the foot moment, except maybe after. Let's see. So I'm here, I'm holding, I go on my tiptoes, I move around, and now I bring my knee in tight. Rotate. I bring my knee tight. I bring my arm over the body. And now, the hand on this side that I'm on is under his arm, and this arm right here is also under his arm as I move into more of a side mount. Let's all go again. Knees down, knees and elbows down. Double underhooks. I begin to lift my right side, lifting the right side. As the right side lifts, it's too heavy. So you hug the thigh, open your right leg, pull it down, and step your right leg over their foot.
Beautiful
now,
feel.
Pull your right arm out and put it over their thigh. Look to your left. As you place your right shoulder on the ground, run around to your right. Now run back to your left. Boom. Bring your left elbow over the body. Pull their hip in tight. And now your right arm starts to walk out on the ground. Up a little bit, up by your right knee. Walk it out. And your left hand also walks up and move yourself into a more comfortable side mount. Guys, that was so great.
Yeah.
Even that last part, I said move yourself, and everybody's body moved like 2.5 inches at the same time. Thank you for following along so well. Here we are. Now we go back. Come over here, bro. That's good on that one. That's reviewing what we did earlier today, over under pass. Oh, I'm sorry, actually by ourselves. And now we talked about this move. Remember this movement? Let's review this one. Everybody's right leg forward on your right elbow. Right leg forward on your right elbow. Remember, we switch side to side. So I imagine a straight line, okay? And we talked about using something, right, to help measure. That's the person's head. From here, I throw my leg over and I switch. I'm on the other side. Yeah, the simple movement like this, leg throws, boom, switch, and here I am, alternating legs. I love it. And how that applies, Eddie's laying down right here. Everyone's got double underhooks. I'm picking it up, he makes it heavy. My elbow drops, my leg shoots, my leg goes over, my hip switch, and I'm on top, controlling the neck. Everyone's on their knees. You got your head down on the ground, about 3 feet in front of you. You got double underhooks. Lift one side. I'm lifting the left side. Okay, and now I place my opposite elbow on the ground. When it's too heavy, I put the same side leg up. I shoot my foot through, leg over the top, switch to hips. Go to my knees, side control.
Beautiful.
That look good, Jim? Again, on the knees. Other direction, double underhooks. Now I'm picking up the right side. It's not working. My left elbow drops, my right foot goes out, my left leg shoots through. Leg goes over the top, switch my hips. Yes,
great,
good Bethany,
Emily.
and then go to your knees. Good Bethany, good Leslie. Okay, perfect. Eddie's right here laying down. Reviewing the guard passes. And now the standing motion. The concept of, remember, bicep, collar. Same side bicep, hold, stand up. Look how he's floating. As I push, I open his guard. Once I open his guard, my knee steps in and my elbow comes in. And now I pin his leg, fist on his stomach. Boom, we did the preparation drill before class. Underhook, grab, and sit. So everybody's on their knees. Your right hand holds the person's bicep. Step your right leg up on the same side. Yep. Now as your left leg stands up, your right hand grabs the collar and you stand here. Right forearm and right elbow together. Bouncing the hips, the guard opens. As my left hand pushes their knee to the ground, my right fist goes to the ground also. And now both legs jump through. One through, one wide. Yep, underhook the arm on the knee down side. Yeah, and then sit on your hip and go to there. Great. Again, hands down.
Great, Adrian.
Same thing now, I'm gonna do the other side just because. Hands on the bicep, left hand's on the bicep. left leg steps up, right hand's out for base. As my second foot steps up, my left hand grabs the collar. And now I'm standing. Now I'm pushing on the other side. The guard breaks. Once the guard breaks, I bring my left knee inside and my left elbow inside. I keep holding their pant. I pin my right fist to the ground. I put my left fist on their body. As my left knee comes through, my right leg goes wide. And now I underhook on the knee down side. Once I underhook, I grab the tricep and I sit through. I keep my head down and my top leg goes where? Back a little more. Yup, and then I drive forward a little more. Beautiful. And now I stand up. Everybody's standing. I'm holding both lapels, both collars. The person uncrosses their legs, grabs my ankles. I begin to fall, kick and step. Play that game a little bit, right? As I'm falling, kick forward and step. And if this is new for anybody, Eddie right here please. If this is new, a little more, yeah. Understand this, he grabs my ankles. If I try to step straight back, he's strong. But if I point my toes in, kick forward and out, I can catch myself from falling backwards. And if I can catch myself, go ahead, sweep me, sweep, boom. I can then shoot double underhooks and put a little pressure on him right here and melt to the side mount. So, first just play the game of standing. And right now my weight is even, but now watch. I'm falling, kick and catch.
Nice, Leslie.
If you don't feel off balance, you're not doing it, you're not getting it. I'm gonna do my other side. I'm falling, kick, boom, I caught myself. Yes.
Nice, Shayla.
Some of you guys
Great,
look,
Steve.
it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, it's such small details, but it looks like some might just be stepping and kicking back. I really need you to feel almost afraid, like, oh, I'm losing it, and then I catch myself. Other
Looking
side.
good, Bob.
Falling, kick, and I step. Bob's doing it?
Yes, he's doing it. Yes.
Isn't he?
Yes, he's doing
He's back. Okay. So now after I kick and I step, boom, I land here. Double underhooks, everybody double underhooks, go, big double. Grab the shoulder, thug the thigh, hop around, melt the weight, hips forward. Modified side mount, modified side mount. They hug your neck, arm over the body, switch to hips, neck hug, standard side mount. Good. On your knees again, back up, back to standing. One more, other side, double ankle sweep. Turn, kick, back.
Nice,
Boom,
Tony.
double underhooks. Hold the shoulder with the front arm, hug the thigh, put the legs back, hop around, melt the weight, hips. Good.
Nice, Jim Correda.
Very nice. Eddie?
Yeah.
And then we had one more talk, which was probably the one that our grandfather stressed the most for us, which was just the simple comfort. Go ahead, sweep me. Of this. Go ahead. So sometimes, notice how when he sweeps me, go ahead. My elbow leaves this area. It's not the best, but it does happen. So go ahead. I kept it a little tighter this time, but there's just an absorption and a ride that happens here. And then, look, boom, backstroke, grab the jacket, backstroke, hold the thigh, legs back, and pass the guard. So, standing directly over the person. I'm gonna show the side angle. Let's all put our hands down. Bicep, step, step. Get to that standing position. From here now, I'm holding both collars. They go to sweep me, knees pinch. Hips forward. Yeah, play the game here. Here, exaggerating. There is moving, boom, there's standing up a little bit, and then go back down. Now, right hand, big backstroke. Boom. Thumb in the collar. Other hand, backstroke. Hold the thigh. Put the legs back. Hop around and melt the weight.
Great.
Good final landing. On our knees again. Last one, other side, same thing. Hands on the body. 2 steps. I'm doing the other side now. I hold the bicep. I step up, hand down, and stand.
I'm holding both collars. I'm riding it, absorbing it. Sometimes my feet actually leave the ground. The person's sweep is so intense that your feet leave the ground, like barely, and you go back down. Hopefully you have good collar grabs. And now my other arm goes back, big back stroke, thumb in the collar. Today's hand on the ground, and then go back. And now I pass around to the left, melt my hips forward, inside mount.
Great, Makoto.
Good. Now if Eddie, watch this. If Eddie puts his feet on my hips, when he stands up, my elbow's tight here, and then if I go back, foot on my hip, freeze. See how the foot went on my hip? My hand goes inside, and my elbow pops his foot off my hip, and then I go to here. So anytime the heel lands on the hip, I need to remove it. How I remove it is a good collar grab, hand inside, and now my elbow goes, boom, pushes it out. Thumb in the collar, backstroke, and pass. Is that clear for everybody? Good visual? So now, standing up, be right here. Knees bent, standing up. Yes, when I melt my weight, I'll tell you what my arms do in a moment, yes. Right elbow's tight, legs are bent. So as my hand goes back, boom, their foot goes on my hip. So my hand goes inside their foot, and I grab their thigh, and now my elbow goes like this, pop, pops it out. And now dip my shoulder, thumb in the collar. Put the legs back, I'm backstroke with the other hand. I should have backstroked first, and then pass the guard, melt the weight. So my arms, on your back real quick, Eddie. We're gonna do that one again. Everybody follow along. Back to standing. We're back to standing, elbows tight, we're right here. Elbows tight, elbows tight. We do the backstroke, foot in the hip. Foot in the hip. Oh man, look. Hand inside. Elbow opens it. And now, boom, put it on the shoulder. Thumb in the collar, other hand goes back. Legs back. My arms are just keeping me connected to him, pulling me in, and then I melt the weight, and I go to the side. Because his body is folded. He wants to extend me away. Both legs push me away. He wants to do that, and I want to keep him folded, and I do that by connecting to him through this hand in the collar. The collar is too magical. Thank you. One more time. Standing up again. Everybody standing. Right hand's holding the collar. The left hand goes to pass the guard. They put the foot on the hip. Hand inside. Grab their thigh. Use your elbow. Pop it out. The elbow goes pop. Pops their elbow, ankle out. Lower your shoulder, thumb in the collar. Other hand, backstroke. Put the legs back. Hop around. Hips melt forward and drop in the side mount.
Beautiful, Payan.
And now check this out. Sometimes the foot on the hip. Sometimes the foot on the hip. Here, turn a little bit. Put the foot on my hip. Freeze. Push away. I go like this. Sometimes I turn, I clear it, and then I put it on my hip again. I re-grab it. So when the foot lands, sometimes turning my body so that it clears, and then I drop my hip, and now I hold here, pull it back in. He can't put it back in. So there's another way of clearing the foot. Turning, come back and grab it. Which brings me to the same other review that we did earlier, which is when you have double underhooks, and you're passing, and he blocks my hip right there with his hand. I go like this, hip, turn, turn, and I drop past his hip. Let's do the standing one first. We're same standing, elbows and knees tight. From here now, my hand goes back, they put the foot on my hip. So I turn, look at my hand, and I cup the ankle, and I clear it as I turn my body. You see that? Boom, once I clear it, I come back, and I hug the thigh, and I hold a little bit. And then when they chill, I pinch my knees, and I pass tighter. Hug the other thigh, legs back, and melt the weight.
Perfect, AJ Lim.
Raise your hand if your thighs are feeling it a little bit. Whose thighs are feeling it? Whose quads? Half of you? Okay.
That's good.
I like that. Mine are feeling it a little bit. Hands, stand. Knees bent, posture, be strong. Right elbow's tight, left hand goes back. Boom, the foot made it to my hip. Right away, overhand cup, turn my hip and go, boom, clear it. Once I clear it, I come back. And then I hug the thigh like this. Now I don't let it go to my hip anymore. But then I pinch my knees and I do a faster backstroke, thumb in the collar. Other hand, backstroke, hold the thigh.
Beautiful.
Put the legs back, hop the weight, and melt. That looks good. You guys' hands were flying back very fast. Good. Now the movement that Eddie talked about, not the movement that we talked about, the two movements today, one of them, a preparation drill, is this. From my knees, my left knee comes up, and then I sit through to my hip. You see that? So here, and I go like this, up, knee across, and I sit through to my hip. Here, other side, knee up and knee across, and I sit through. Here, my weight is on the person, knee up and then across. Do that motion twice each. Yeah, and drop your elbow down. So what is that? For those that didn't see, what that is when I'm here, block my hip, boom, I move around, look, knee, so right, his arm is extended, blocking my hip. My knee comes out and just goes, and completely just plows through his elbow. Blocking, he blocks, I move around a little bit with my knee. And then I sit on my hip, and then I switch, and go back to whatever feels good. So, by yourselves now, that same motion with my hand, hugging the thigh, double ankle, I'm on my knees, double underhook guard pass. And now my cross hand reaches over, puts my hand on the ground. And now I rock forward, tiptoes. As I hop around now, I pick up, you can put both hands down if it feels more comfortable. My knee comes up and then I swipe through and sit on my hip. Although traditionally you wouldn't put both hands down because the person's body is supporting your weight. But to have all the weight on your one arm can feel a little bit tricky. Hands, double underhooks. Yep. I lift the left shoulder, I drop my left shoulder underneath. I put my hand on the ground across. I'm hugging the thigh. Put the weight forward, I hop around. As I hop around, they block my hip. So my knee comes up, chop it across. And I sit down.
Beautiful, Gabriel and Joshua. Really good.
Gabriel and Joshua are back. And Gabriel right there on the bottom too.
Yeah.
I like these guys that are, 16, 17, 19. Eddie's laying down. The future. We're gonna all wanna avoid them in 4 years. Double underhooks. He blocks my hip. Look, I'm moving, he blocks it. I put weight on that, and then I turn. Boom, boom. So he's blocking my hip. My hip is on it. I put weight on it, remove the weight, slide down, and then my hip cuts back. Here, block my hip, heavy left hip, turn. It's the same as this. Hands on my chest, both hands on my chest as this, look. Same principle, right? A hands on my chest, simply my body turning, boom. It kind of deflects the hand pass. It's kind of what we're doing from the double underhook guard pass. So go to double underhooks, and then lift the leg, put it on the shoulder, grab the cross shoulder. And now hugging the thigh, as you hop around, look how I put weight on my left hip, and watch my switch, and then I drop down, fall to your elbow. Yeah, that was good, Renata, yes. Hip. One more. Double underhooks, lift it, place it on the shoulder, hand on the ground. Put the weight forward, tiptoes. As I walk around, they block my hip. So heavy on the left hip, take it off and bring it back and drop the hip.
Great, Fernando.
It's just a little fake Very nice.
Yeah.
Good. Any questions? Guard passing questions. The one that we added right now this evening and we added this morning, over under guard pass. I'm lifting and then he does what? He puts his foot down. When he puts his foot down, I pull it down as I step over it. I pull it down, I step over it. And then what do? Show me. Yes, arm over. Now, shoulder down. As my hand grabs the thigh, I hop around. Once I clear it, knee tight, hand. Right? My arm that was here came over, boom, and trapped. And now I'm in the side mount. And Henner briefly hinted towards the idea that when you have an underhook right here, is when you can walk the hand up and do this and throw their arm over. And now I can go to this. How do you feel?
I don't like it at all.
How would you get out of here?
I would say I'll try with my legs something here.
He has no idea what he's talking about.
No.
There's no way to get out of here. It's a very tricky place to be. So that's twisting arm control from the side mount, which is extremely annoying. And I've done it hundreds of times in here and people don't have an answer. So remember today's technique, the addition from kneeling. We can all do it one final time. Double underhooks. And I'm lifting the right side. It's too heavy. So then I pull down. As I lift the leg, I pull down and I step over it. Good. And then I pull that arm out and I hug the leg. Once I hug the leg, I place the shoulder and I hold my own thigh. And then I hop around. And then I come back. Once I come back, arm over the person's body. Yep, and then hand out on the ground. Good, over under pass. And the over under pass can also happen, which is tricky to do solo, can also happen standing. Just for your understanding, you can be here, boom, open guard, and then from here I just go like this. And I drop into the over under, I step out. Sometimes if he's hooking my leg too sticky, I need to step out. And then knee, and elbow. So know that you can fall into it from standing. What if they put both feet on the hips when you're holding the ankles? Oh, that's a great question. So double ankle sweep, if the person grabs my ankles and puts their feet here. Number one, when I stand up, my elbow to thigh awareness doesn't allow both feet to go on my hips. Very difficult. This one's gonna be hard to get there. In many cases, it will be one. Like I mentioned, I do this. But if both feet do get here and he pushes, I can still do my step out and catch myself. That will be more of an open guard. Or push again, boom. I can kind of like, you see how I raised my hips and I clear his feet and then I melt onto his body, which is very tricky reflex that I feel very confident in. And obviously you have to have lots of feet placed on your hips and lots of people who push, right, with real intensity. And when they push, it's almost like they're pushing into nothing, because right now there is somewhere for them to wedge. But when I do this, their feet go whoop, right past. And then you just go boom and you clear their legs and you melt to the side mount. It's a very good understanding for a street fight, in my opinion. If I'm here and I want to pass this person's guard, sometimes I crowd the person's guard, I go boom, and I stand over the person. And now I can go boom, I can strike, put your feet on my hips. I hold his thighs, usually needs to push me away. I go like this, he relaxes, boom, strike again, feet on my hips. Boom, look, hips forward. There's a lot of, you see I have almost like a leaning squat with punches and, you know, absorption techniques, small anchors, striking, hips, angles. It's very, now all of that is only possible because I trust in my ability to do my back step, worst case. but I very rarely have to use that because I can be very overwhelming on top of somebody in that squat position. It looks like this from the side angle. You see how I'm falling on him. Knees push me away. Knees, I absorb. But you see my forward lean. Throw me forward, sweep me forward. Look at my hands. Hands on the ground. Boom. And then look at my hips. Hips. Clearing, 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 and melting. This is extremely fun to pivot on the person. Having no person is kind of ridiculous to practice this, but to do it with no person, it's very fun to like smear your hips into them and give them all kinds of ridiculous pressure. He can roll over his head. What do you do if he elevates you with both feet? He can roll you over your head. But yeah, again, if their feet go on my hips, they could do a forward sweep, but the feet don't land on the hips because of the quickness of removal, hips forward. But again, if somebody's very good at putting both feet on your hips and sweeping you, it might happen, right? That goes for every sweep. There are many sweeps that are out there we have to respect. But as we learn those sweeps, we become familiar with what that person needs to achieve the sweep, and we become masters of preventing them from achieving, let's just say, steps 3 and 4. We can allow them to have part 1 and 2 of the move in place. But as they go to part 3, we turn the angle, we clear a foot, we anchor on somewhere. And that is only by getting swept do you figure out the best times to interrupt the execution of any technique, because every single move from start to finish has a few opportunities for us to do what? To come in and completely dismantle the technique. It's just about whether or not we are present enough and experienced enough to recognize those windows of opportunities. What if when you're standing, the person keeps their legs locked and sits up? Would it result in being slammed down? Correct. In just everyday rolling amongst friends, I never let students do that. I'm not a big fan, cross your feet please, of me doing this, start to sit up. He should not do that, okay? I personally slam my friends on the ground, sit up again. I go like this, boom, boom. I go, boom. I go a little hit, cross your feet again. My grandfather would teach this. Take your elbow out, just to go like this, boom, boom. You see that? Like a little,
I don't like that at
boom,
all.
boom. He would always tell us to do that because he never wanted anybody to become comfortable taking their back off the ground. So we always learned that even from somebody leaves the ground like 10 inches, boom, you just hit them on the ground so that they stay down or they uncross their legs. So I'm a big like, hey, don't slap, put yourself, uncross your legs. Uncross your legs is what I would say to the person that's leaving the ground. But if they do leave the ground in practice and you don't want to, first of all, leaving the ground like that, sitting up, is not easy for the person on the bottom to just sit up. That's a serious ab workout. So a little bit of a shake and pushing of their knee, their feet will usually uncross and they will go down. So you have the choice. You can slam them if you really, really care about them. And I say care because you're reminding them of the dangers of leaving the ground, or you can have fun and carry their weight as they stand up, do a little bounce if it becomes too heavy to put some stress on their feet so that they uncross their legs. Okay, thank you guys. The baseball pass today caught my legs when I tried to step over the head. Oh, that I understand you couldn't do the pass where you sit through. That's not the baseball pass, but I like that you said that. I understood what you meant, like a slide tackle, and then you switch. You tried that, but they caught your legs as you went through. My only suggestion is that maybe that the energy of the pass let up, and their focus shifted to your legs versus keeping their legs heavy to stop the pass. Sitting down, feet crossed, and let's talk about the guard and closing your eyes. Big exhale.
Get comfortable. And now as you exhale and inhale and you breathe, you arrive in someone's guard. And when you arrive in someone's guard, you have a new understanding, and that is one of just be inside their guard. The first thought when you're inside the guard is not, dang. The first thought is, interesting. And then from there, you decide to stand. So you take boom, 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 2 steps, and you get up tall. And as you stand, you're standing right over the person. They uncross their legs and they drop into the double ankle sweep. As you're falling like 10-15%, you do a big forward kick and you catch yourself and you fall back into your base. But when you fall back, you don't stay standing. You drop back down. But when you drop down, you drop into that kind of hunter squat where you have one knee up and one knee down. And now a little part of you is a little afraid of standing back up because of how quickly you lost your balance. This person's double ankle sweep was so explosive. So now you stay down. And in staying down, you kind of go back down to both knees and you're in the guard. They begin attacking, you go double underhooks. From double underhooks, you start to lift up the leg on the right side. Lift, lift, lift. But it's so heavy. So you lift up your right leg. As you pull their leg down, you trap their foot. And then you bring your right arm over their arm. So now you have the over-under control. So you're no longer going to go under their legs. You're going to go over and around their legs. So you put shoulder pressure and you run around to the right side. And once you clear their legs, you run back to the left, pull your left arm out and you pinch their hips. And you remember that hip control is like 80% of this pass. Once you get around, elbows and hips tight, elbows and knees tight to control their hips from any type of wiggling movements so that they can't recover guard. And you control their hips for 5-10 seconds. And then when they relax for a moment, then you advance to a more comfortable side mount and get full side mount control. Okay, thank you guys. Thanks for following along. Passing the guard from one to the other, to the other, to the other. Sometimes it takes, for me to pass Henner's guard, it's like 3, 4, 5 attempts. I don't just get up and start passing, no. I try one thing, try another thing, 4 things. The 5th attempt, boom, I got past his leg somehow. So a combination of guard passes is necessary amongst the most annoying of annoying people. Okay, keep it up. I see some of you guys are sweating. Thanks for putting in the work. Thanks for the dedication. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m. Saturday morning. If not, next Monday.
Bye.
Good night, guys.
Good night. Ciao.
Ciao. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you, guys.